Okay, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I begin with this testimony, I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, every millstone, who do rule well and teach well. Shalom to the hopeful, elect in your eye, command your brothers, pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth without truth and sincerity, making your calling and election short, man. Hey, shalom, shalom. And this was a dream. I'm going to make this quick and straight to the point, man, about how, demons, hop on Jake or people and cause you to, get off your path, man, or to try to, stop you from, doing the work or, putting you in a lower state, when really, all you have to do is, fight, man, and rebuke these demons, because the thing is, demons can't touch you, physically. So what they do is, play your mind. Right? This is the book of Mark 9:17. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which has a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples, and that they should cast him out, and they could not. And he answered him and said, saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground, and wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, how long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, of a child. So he had the spirit on him since he was a kid. This spirit of, really being, just how it says, dumb. He was able to speak. He was moving all, funny, foaming from the mouth. He, it goes on to say, watch. And oftentimes, verse 22, it hath cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. You see, the illness that he had, which is a demon, had caused him to make himself, to make dumb decisions, man. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. But if you notice, it's not necessarily anything physical. They think it's something in his mind. In this world or in this place, in this time, in this period, Salakia, I'm getting all over the place. They would regard this as a form of, mental illness, but really it's just the demons that are on them, right? But I'm just showing you guys this precept to give you an example of, how demons can enter into someone and make them act in a way that, would cause you to be like, what the fuck, bro? Like, or put you in danger, Verse 23, or back at verse 22. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Yahweh Shai said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And Yahweh Shai said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. You see, help thou my unbelief. When Yahweh Shai saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter no more into him. Let's get verse 26. And the spirit cried and rent him sore and came out of him, and he was as one dead, inasmuch as that many said, he is dead. But Yahushua took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was coming to the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could not we have cast him out? And he said unto him, this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. This precept also shows you that sometimes, man, these spirits that are on you, man, that you can't put off, that are strong and are constantly causing you to, to go off or, to sin, because if you're constantly going off and sinning, bro, the thing about that is, you're constantly, reaching judgment. You're constantly, getting ready to be, in a state of rebuke. But the thing is what? You got to fast, man. You got to fast. And when you're fasting, you got to pray. That's how, remove some of these, demons that are on you that you may not even know. But nonetheless, it goes to show you that, spirits hop on, people through the mental. And so in this dream, and I'm going to get also one more precept. I only got two. In this dream, for some reason, me and my Eve were arguing over some stupid shit, something dumb. And whatever, we're mad at each other. We decided to go for a walk downtown. The dream skipped to us walking downtown. And this time I'm not talking to her, but I'm talking to Southern Kingdom Jake that was on the left of me, and she was on the right of me. And the Southern Kingdom Jake, I believe through the Spirit was an angel, because I was just talking to him, just whatever, trying to ignore Eve, and we're just chopping it up. And next thing you know, we see something come up from the back of so as we're walking downtown, there's these houses, house on the right of us, and you can check the buildings on the left of us. A fucking, some like eagle kind of thing flies up, some like with wings. I'm like, what the like we all kind of look at it like, what the fuck is that? And as it flies above us, we look closer, and it looks like a fucking zombie in like a fetal position, moving all nasty and shit. And he looked pale, but he had wings. And I was like, that's a demon, bro. And I was like, Shalak, I was like, follow after me, both of you guys. Shalak Rayum to that demon. Shalak Rayum in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Shalak Rayum in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to that demon. When it started fading and fading away, and it went away. And I told him, still follow after me. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And then me and he, we hugged it out. I'm like, damn, that was just a spirit that was on us. It was a demon, that was, putting it in our minds to go ahead and, do, I guess, be in a state of, being angry. Being in that mind frame. But the thing is, because that demon was plaguing our mind to think a certain way. So, the dream, we were saying, call Allah Bashim Yahushai, call Allah Bashim Yahushai. And this Jake, we're downtown yelling that because we seen, the demon, perish, sort of say. And in the dream, a Jake walks past, walks behind us, like an older Jake, Southern Kingdom Jake. He's like, yeah, I seen that, but can y'all hold it down? And we're like, yeah, my bad. We're just excited. But yeah, man, it goes to show you that, hey, you gotta, rebuke these demons, thoughts and things that come into your mind. You gotta rebuke them in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that's how, you fight in this thing, through prayer and fasting. One more thing, Matthew 16:22, another example of how, Satan gets your mind to say things. Watch Matthew 16:22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, real quick. Verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. This is when, verse 23. Actually, I'm starting up. Verse 21 in the book of, Matthew 16? Yeah, Matthew 16:21. From that time forth began Yahushua to show unto the disciples that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. He was telling like, man, I got to go through this. And then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. Right? He's like, man, I would not let you go out like that. No. 23, he turned and said unto him, Peter, get thee from behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. You see, Shaitan hopped on into, react through the flesh. Verse 25, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. You see, but nonetheless, that's the point right there, showing you that, hey, Peter, Shaitan hopped on him to, run on his flesh and say, nah, that's not going to happen. I wouldn't let that slide. And what did Yahushua say? Get away from me, Shaitan. Instead of being like, damn, you're right, this is what you got to go through, Lord. Because what? It said that, for thou savorest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. So that was a good little dream that I had. Showing me that hey, you gotta pray. I gotta rebuke these thoughts, these demons that hop on us, and to relay that message back to you, Akim, man. So Lord willing, this has been edifying and exhorting unto you, brothers, man. Shalom.